I'm particularly pleased to be here this afternoon in this very important ceremony. And I would like, first of all, to apologize for Mrs. Condor. When the chairperson said she was no more, I thought I was divorced. But what she meant is that she was not able to make it this afternoon. She intended to, but I was getting a little worried. In fact, the 13th of July, 13th of last month, this is August now, yeah, 13th of July, we celebrated our silver anniversary, our 25th anniversary. And so, to come here this afternoon to hear that she's no more was a bit, she's here, in spirit. And so I want to again welcome all of us to this ceremony. Today, we have come to commemorate and memorialize those who perished in that disaster, that tragedy some 40 years ago, and to celebrate life with those, the survivors, those who survived that tragedy, and to hope that as the years pass, they will find healing and they will be able to continue to live their life to the fullest. I was reflecting that if ever we needed an event, an occasion to remind us how much we are one people, that the disaster represented that. We have come over a century and a half, from 1833 to 1983, from slavery to independence. And we have done everything in between those 150 years. We have played together, fought together, cried together, died together. I don't know if there are another set of people, a group of people that is as closely intertwined, interlinked as the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, whereas in my early years in political life, I was a bit ambivalent and not too sure, and maybe sometimes even didn't care about secession. I am a confirmed federalist and personally would fight to see that this federation remains one federation. We are one people. I remember this event like it was yesterday. Like the speaker at the opening prayer, I was just about 12. Well, you could believe that if you want. Yeah, I was a young man then. Well, I'm still a young man. I was a very young man at that time. And I remember when the call went out, I think we heard it on ZIZ, and almost the entire St. Kitts population flocked to the seafront to just look, stand in awe and amazement and wonder and disbelief, because some people had just left the seashore to bid their loved ones, bon voyage and safe journey, only to be recalled shortly after with the tragic news. And so I remember that day I was at the waterfront. And that hit every home, every household in St. Kitts. Everyone without exemption. In fact, I often tell a story of Uncle Jerry. That was a gentleman who ran a shop on Pond Road. He had some 5 daughters, and they had roots, because everybody in St. Kitts have roots in Nevis. And they would come on a weekly basis to visit their relatives in Nevis. And when Uncle Jerry heard that the Christina sank, he called to the village where they lived and asked if any one of the girls were on the boat. And they told him no. He said, thank God. And then 5 minutes later, he called back to ask if they're sure that no one was on the boat. And they told him, yes, they're sure. He said, well, let me speak to them. So he spoke to each of them. He spoke to Leona and Myris and Gwendolyn and Doreen and Cynthia. Spoke to everyone to make sure, because he wasn't trusting them. He hung up the phone. And then 5 minutes later, he called back. He said, anybody was supposed to be on the boat? That is what that meant to us in St. Kitts, because people were expected at that time, everybody, that was the holiday, vacation, Easter month, August Monday and so on, so everybody. And so that has remained with us as a poignant reminder of how much we are one people. 40 years later, we have moved on from a single ferry, passenger ferry. Today, when I traveled across by the sea bridge. And it shows not only how much we are one people, but how much we have progressed and moved and advanced as a people. In fact, not only on the sea bridge you could come now, but at the ferry terminal, you have a choice of some 3, 4, 5, 6 passenger vessels. The Carib Queen, Mark Twain, Sea Hustler, Carib Breeze, Carib Surf, not a Carib, or no, this. And you name them. And so it is not a question of the single ferry now. It's any number of passenger vessels that we could take.